Pain is an inevitable part of the human experience. From the first breath we take, we encounter challenges, physical discomfort, emotional turmoil, loss, disappointment. Yet, within the crucible of suffering lies untapped potential, the power to reshape our character, strengthen our resolve, and ignite the flames of transformation. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy born in the Stoa of Athens more than 2 millennia ago, offers a roadmap for converting adversity into advantage. By embracing the Stoic principles of perception, discipline, and action, we can learn not only to endure suffering, but also to transform it into personal growth, resilience, and inner freedom. In this video, we will embark on a journey through Stoic wisdom, practical exercises, and inspiring narratives to equip you with the tools to transform pain into power, so that you, too, can stand unwavering in the face of life's storms. 1. The Stoic attitude toward pain. Pain is an inescapable teacher, arriving unannounced and unwelcome, yet carrying the treasure of transformation in its bitter embrace. The Stoics remind us that it is not pain itself that wounds us most deeply, but the judgments we attach to it. As Marcus Aurelius exhorted in his Meditations, if any external thing pains you, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. In other words, the sting of suffering lies not in the event, but in our interpretation. When we label hardship as cruel, unfair, or insurmountable, we surrender our power, allowing pain to dictate our inner state. But when we choose to perceive discomfort as an essential force of character building, we reclaim our agency and find in adversity our greatest ally. Imagine a forge in a dimly lit workshop, where glowing steel is hammered and twisted into shape. Each blow of the hammer seems destructive, yet it is precisely through that very impact applied under searing heat that the iron gains strength, flexibility, and resilience. In the Stoic paradigm, life's hardships are the smith's hammer, destiny the fire, and our soul the steel undergoing refinement. Without the hammer's strike, the metal remains raw and brittle. Without challenges, our character risks remaining undeveloped and fragile. By embracing this metaphor, we begin to recognize that every setback, every ache of loss or frustration, is an invitation to grow tougher, more malleable, more capable of bearing future burdens. This shift in perspective demands courage and discipline. It requires us to pause, inhale deeply, and refuse the impulse to cast our pain as a curse. Instead, we ask, what lesson does this moment hold? What strength can I forge here? A broken relationship becomes not a testament to personal failure, but a mirror reflecting areas in need of compassion, self-awareness, or firmer boundaries. A professional setback ceases to be a verdict on our worth and transforms into a diagnostic tool, illuminating where we can sharpen skills or realign priorities. Illness or physical discomfort, no matter how debilitating, becomes a stark reminder of the body's vulnerability and, paradoxically, a gateway to profound gratitude for every untroubled breath, every healthy heartbeat. Stoicism does not sugarcoat hardship. It does not deny that pain can be fierce, lingering, and sometimes overwhelming. Rather, it equips us with a radical truth. You cannot always control what happens, but you can control how you interpret it and how you act in response. When you adopt this truth as an unshakable bedrock, pain loses its tyrannical grip. You stand firm in the eye of the storm, unwavering because you know that its winds, though wild, cannot alter the core of your reasoned mind. The Stoic attitude toward pain is not a what-I'm revelation, but a lifelong practice. Each day, we face new provocations, small irritations, and seismic traumas alike. Each day, we choose whether to let these events break us or to let them build us. By internalizing the blacksmith's metaphor, by adopting Marcus Aurelius's counsel, and by consistently choosing to interpret pain as an instrument of refinement, we begin to live in a state of empowered equanimity. The storms of life still roar, but our inner citadel stands unbreached, forged in the crucible of adversity, and tempered by the unyielding will to transform pain into power. To reframing adversity, the power of perception. Adversity looms in every corner of life. Unexpected setbacks, unkind words, unforeseen losses, but its true impact depends entirely on how we perceive it. Stoicism teaches that our minds hold the reins. The events themselves are neutral, waiting for us to assign them meaning. When we grasp this fundamental truth, we unlock a transformative power, the ability to turn what once paralyzed us into fuel for growth and courage. First, we must observe without judgment. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a turbulent sea. Waves crash relentlessly against the shore, yet you are merely an onlooker, witnessing their force without labeling them good or bad. In the same way, when pain arrives, be it physical ache, emotional turbulence, or professional defeat, pause and become a detached observer. Notice the tightness in your chest, the whirl of anxious thoughts, the flash of anger or sorrow. Resist the instinct to immediately brand these sensations as something to be feared or loathed. Instead, catalog them as phenomena unfolding within you, like clouds drifting across a vast sky. Next, we separate facts from interpretations. A storm-smashed roof, a blistering critique, a betrayal by a close friend. These are the raw facts. They exist outside of your mind's storytelling, but our inner narrators rush in, weaving cautionary tales. I'm helpless, I'm unworthy, life is conspiring against me. These are interpretation scripts that amplify suffering and trap us in a cycle of self-pity. To break free, we must hold each thought up to the light and ask, is this an objective reality, or my spin? When you diligently disentangle what occurred from the mental commentary you've added, you rob distress of its venomous power. Finally, you choose an empowering perspective. This is the Stoic pivot point, the conscious decision to view adversity not as an end, but as a doorway. Ask yourself, how else can I understand this moment? Perhaps a scathing critique reveals blind spots you can now address. Maybe a career setback redirects you toward a path more aligned with your deepest values. Illness, while unwelcome, can become a profound teacher of patience, gratitude, and the ephemeral nature of existence. By actively reframing your narrative, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. Imagine standing atop a mountain you once thought insurmountable. From that vantage, the arduous climb, each slip, each gasp for air becomes part of a triumphant story. Your story. The pain that once threatened to defeat you now recedes into memory, overshadowed by the pride of having persevered. This is the power of perception. What once was a burden becomes, in hindsight, a badge of honor. To make this shift more than a mere thought experiment, integrate these practices into your daily life. When irritation flares in traffic, treat it as a moment to practice patience rather than a reason to explode. When disappointment stings after a failed endeavor, jot down 3 lessons it taught you. With each deliberate act of reframing, your mental muscles strengthen, and the tyranny of negative judgment loosens its grip. Reframing adversity isn't denial, it's mastery. It does not ask you to ignore pain, but to meet it with the unshakable confidence that you control your response. When each trial arrives, you will stand ready, wielding the lens of empowerment. No longer a passive sufferer, you become an active sculptor of your destiny, chiseling every hardship into a monument of personal triumph. In this way, the power of perception turns adversity from enemy to ally, forging within you an indomitable spirit that no storm can ever extinguish. 3. Voluntary discomfort. Training the mind and body in the grand theater of life. Discomfort often arrives unannounced, and we recoil, scrambling for comfort and safety. Yet Stoicism invites us to turn this instinct on its head by choosing to embrace small doses of pain today. We toughen our minds and bodies so that we are unshakable when real adversity strikes. Voluntary discomfort is not masochism, it is deliberate training, forging mental steel and teaching us that we are far stronger than our reflexive desire for ease. Consider the morning ritual of the cold shower. As the icy torrent first hits your skin, every nerve screams in protest. This is unbearable. Your heart races. Your breath comes fast and shallow. But in that moment of crisis lies a profound lesson. You have complete control over your response. You can gasp and flee to warmth, or you can steel yourself, breathe deeply, and stand firm. With each second you endure, you are sending a message to your subconscious. I own my will. I am not a slave to my comfort. Day after day, you build tolerance not only to frigid water, but to discomfort in all its forms. That same resolve you summon under the cold shower carries over to the pressures of work, the pangs of loss, or the sting of criticism. Intermittent fasting offers another crucible. Hunger is both a physical and psychological force. When the clock strikes your fasting window, your stomach growls insistently and your mind cries out for relief. Yet each pang of hunger is an opportunity to confront craving, to examine the story you tell yourself, I need food now or I will collapse, and to realize how much of that narrative is fiction. As hours pass and you remain steadfast, you learn that discomfort is transient. You reclaim mastery over impulses that too often derail your highest intentions. Hunger subsides. Clarity emerges. You discover a calm beyond the turnover of meals, a confidence built on the knowledge that you can endure far more than you once believed. Digital detoxes, too, are potent exercises in voluntary hardship. In a world drunk on constant notifications, we have become Pavlov's dogs, chasing the next ping of validation or distraction. By unplugging, putting the phone on airplane mode, closing social apps, silencing news feeds, you confront the whispering void within, boredom, restlessness, maybe even anxiety. But this void is fertile ground for introspection, creativity, and presence. You learn to sit with yourself, to observe thoughts arising and fading without immediately seeking external stimulation. Over time, you break addiction to the dopamine drip and fortify your mental keep against the siren call of endless scrolls. These micro-challenges share a common blueprint. They are voluntary, time-boxed, and incremental. You don't hurl yourself into a month-long survival course. You start small, 20 seconds under cold water, skipping one meal, an hour offline, and build from there. Each completed trial becomes a mental milestone. I chose discomfort and prevailed. Collect enough of these victories, and when genuine hardship arrives, a job loss, a health crisis, a heartache, you tap into a reservoir of proven strength. The mind says, I have done this by choice, I can endure this by necessity. Voluntary discomfort is more than Stoic bravado. It is the daily anthem of self-mastery. It teaches that suffering is neither enemy nor stranger, but a disciplined partner in our quest for greatness. By harnessing the power of premeditated hardship, we insulate ourselves against life's blows, forging bodies honed by ice, spirits tempered by hunger, and minds liberated from the tyranny of endless distraction. In this rigorous training, we discover the vital truth of Stoicism. Pain is not our prison, it is our proving ground. For the discipline of action, turning insight into practice. Hindsight lights the path, but action paves the way. In Stoicism, true transformation emerges when we translate our understanding of perception and discomfort into consistent, purposeful habits. Without disciplined application, even the noblest insight remains a fleeting spark. To forge lasting change, we embrace three interlocking pillars: daily reflection, focused purpose, and community engagement, each one propelling us from passive contemplation into vibrant, resilient living. Each evening, carve out a sacred space of at least 10 minutes to turn inward. In the quiet penumbra of your room, free from screens and chatter, review the day's trials and triumphs. Recall moments when pain flared, the burn of impatience in traffic, the knot of anxiety before a presentation, the ache of a misstep in a relationship. Write them down with brutal honesty. Then ask, what did I do well? Where did I falter? How can I respond better tomorrow? This ritual is more than a self-critique. It is the Stoic anvil upon which you shape your character. With each journaling session, patterns emerge, habits of reactivity you can replace with measured responses, blind spots you can illuminate, and virtues you can reinforce. Over weeks and months, this nightly reckoning forges a sharper sense of self-awareness, enabling you to enter each new dawn armed with clear intentions rather than aimless resolutions. Stoicism holds that action divorced from virtue is hollow. To anchor your efforts, define a mission statement grounded in the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. What does courage look like in your world? Perhaps it's speaking up for what's right even when your voice shakes. How does wisdom guide your choices? Maybe it's pausing before reacting, weighing long-term consequences over momentary impulses. Write your purpose in a concise affirmation. Today, I act with courage by addressing challenges directly, and place it where you'll see it often. Taped to your mirror, set as a phone lock screen, or etched in a daily planner. When adversity arrives, an unexpected critique, a looming deadline, An emotional sting, that declaration becomes your North Star. It compels you to lean into discomfort rather than shrink back, to meet trial with principle instead of panic. Purpose transforms routine tasks, emails, chores, workouts into acts of deliberate character cultivation, ensuring that every choice, however small, drives you closer to the person you aspire to be. Stoics did not live in isolation. They recognized that personal growth blossoms most fully when shared, challenged, and supported within a community. Seek out allies on this journey, friends, mentors, or fellow practitioners who hold you to your highest standards. Schedule weekly check-ins where you exchange victories and setbacks without judgment. Offer honest feedback and unwavering encouragement in equal measure. When you mentor another through hardship, you reinforce your commitment. When you receive counsel in turn, you gain fresh perspectives you might overlook alone. Beyond personal circles, engage in acts of service, volunteer for a cause, lend your time or skills to someone in need, or simply extend a compassionate ear. Each selfless gesture deepens your appreciation for interconnectedness and reminds you that your struggle is not solitary. In lifting others, you lift yourself, solidifying the Stoic conviction that true power is communal. It ripples outward, building collective resilience stronger than any individual fortress. Daily reflection hones awareness, focused purpose directs will, and community engagement galvanizes accountability. Together, they form a dynamic cycle. You reflect to clarify purpose. You pursue purpose through disciplined action. You engage community to reinforce insights. And you return to reflection enriched by new experiences. This loop transforms sporadic inspiration into an unbreakable cadence of growth. When you couple Stoic insight with unwavering discipline, your life becomes a living testament to the power of philosophy in practice. No longer a spectator of your own story, you step into the arena with intention and integrity, ready to face every challenge as an opportunity to manifest the virtues you hold most dear. 5. Exercises to cultivate Stoic resilience. Your essence is not a gift bestowed by fate, but a muscle forged through deliberate practice. The Stoics understood that true inner strength emerges from small, consistent actions that train us to face life's fiercest blows with calm and conviction. Below are 4 powerful exercises, each a structured ritual you can weave into your day to transform obstacles into stepping stones and cement an unshakable mindset. Morning negative visualization. Begin each day by calmly envisioning the loss or challenge you most fear, the dissolution of a relationship, the derailment of a lifelong project, or the sudden onset of illness. Feel the sting of absence, the weight of uncertainty, the hollow ache of separation. Let these images wash over you fully without flinching. Then, consciously flip the script. Imagine life restored, gratitude flooding your chest, the simple joys you once took for granted dancing back into focus. By rehearsing worst-case scenarios, you inoculate your mind against shock and cultivate profound appreciation for the present. When hardship later arrives, you'll meet it with a steadiness born of mental rehearsal, refusing to be blindsided by its sting. Evening journaling. As dusk settles, retreat to a quiet corner with pen and paper. Reflect on 3 pivotal moments: your proudest action, your most significant failing, and the single takeaway for tomorrow's growth. Write in direct, unvarnished prose. If impatience flared during a family discussion, name it. If you showed courage by voicing an unpopular truth, celebrate it. This disciplined self-audit is the anvil on which character is hammered into shape. Night after night, it exposes patterns, automatic reactions you can replace with reasoned responses, and latent virtues you can amplify. Over weeks, your journal becomes a roadmap of transformation. Each entry a milestone marking your ascent from reflexive habit to intentional mastery. Pain as teacher. Reflection. Whenever discomfort flares, whether a physical cramp during exercise, a pang of social awkwardness, or the burn of rejection, pause and invoke your inner Stoic guide. Close your eyes for a heartbeat, place a hand over your heart, and silently ask, what lesson does this pain offer? Which virtue is being tested? Label the sensation. This is anxiety seeking to control me, or this is anger demanding justice. By naming the emotion and its lesson, you strip away its chaotic power and transform it into a conscious teacher. As you proceed, you carry with you a newfound calm, anchored by the knowledge that every ache and sting carries a message waiting to be understood. Stoic role model emulation. Choose a Stoic exemplar, ancient or modern, whose story resonates with you. Perhaps Epictetus, who overcame disability to become a master teacher, or contemporary athlete Serena Williams, whose focused discipline echoes Stoic endurance. Each morning or evening, read a short passage or biography excerpt. When adversity arises, mentally step into their shoes. What would Epictetus do now? How would Serena respond? This imaginative alignment rewires your instincts, guiding you toward responses rooted in resilience and virtue. Over time, your internal monologue shifts from fear-laden scripts to the measured counsel of your chosen mentor, empowering you to act with unshakable resolve. These exercises, negative visualization, journaling, in-moment reflection, and role model emulation, form a cohesive daily practice. They sharpen your perception, reinforce purposeful action, and solidify the mindset that pain is not a prison, but a proving ground. Commit to this regimen with the fierce discipline of a Stoic warrior, and you will watch as adversity's blows no longer shatter you, but sculpt you into an ever stronger version of yourself. Embrace each exercise as a sacred ritual on your path to mastery, and let resilience become your defining legacy. 6. Overcoming common obstacles. Every Stoic path encounters roadblocks, those familiar dragons of the men that roar to keep us mired in comfort, reactivity, and attachment. Yet, as any seasoned warrior knows, recognizing your foe is half the battle. In Stoicism, we name these adversaries so we can face them head-on with calculated strategy and iron resolve. First comes the resistance to discomfort, our primal urge to flee pain and cling to ease. From the soft couch that beckons us away from exercise to the siren call of junk food. After a hard day, temptation hides in everyday comforts. Stoicism counsels us to invert this resistance into a training ground. When the alarm tolls before sunrise, see the struggle to rise as a test of sovereignty over your own will. When a difficult conversation looms, let anticipation sharpen your courage instead of dulling it. Each time you choose the harder path, saying no to an extra hour of scrolling in favor of a cold plunge or a mindful breath, you score a small victory over inertia. Over time, these micro-victories accumulate, rewiring your instinct from avoid discomfort to seek growth, until inner discipline becomes your second nature. Next lurks the tempest of emotional outbursts, that sudden flash of anger, frustration, or fear that rips reason from our grasp. The Stoic antidote is the momentary pause, a sacred gap where impulse yields to intention. When your heart pounds and your mind clamors, count backward from 10. Inhaling deep into your belly with each number, visualize tension flowing out with every exhale, like smoke dissipating in the wind. In that brief stillness, you reclaim command of your rational mind. The captain surveys the raging sea, rather than being tossed blindly by its waves. With practice, the pause becomes automatic, and even in the throes of provocation, you respond from choice instead of compulsion, transforming explosive energy into measured action. Finally, we confront the insidious attachment to outcomes, the belief that our peace hinges on a specific result: success, approval, vindication. When things go awry, disappointment and anxiety flood in, dragging us into despair. Stoicism teaches radical acceptance. Focus fiercely on what you can control: your effort, your values, your attitude, and let external outcomes settle where they may. Picture yourself as an archer. You train diligently, aim with all your skill, and release the arrow. But once it leaves your hand, it is subject to wind, distance, and chance. Your duty is the shot. The arrow's landing rests beyond your grasp. By embracing this principle, you dissolve the tyranny of results and free yourself to act boldly, unshackled by fear of failure. Obstacles will persist. Our wiring inclines toward comfort. Our emotions surge unpredictably, and the world remains indifferent to our plans. Yet each challenge offers a potent lesson. Discomfort is the furnace of discipline. The pause is the birthplace of self-control, and detachment from outcomes is the passport to inner peace. Confront these dragons with the unwavering Stoic spirit. Test yourself with intentional hardship, shepherd your breath through the storm of feeling, and commit fully to virtuous action. without clinging to reward. In forging these habits, you do more than overcome obstacles, you transform them into stepping stones, carving your path with each trial into a testament of resilience and mastery. Let no hurdle stop you, let every hurdle strengthen you. 7. The long arc of transformation turns is not a bolt of lightning, but a steady dawn, unfolding over countless moments of choice and action. The Stoics liken personal growth to the patient labor of a sculptor chipping away at marble. Each strike may seem small, even insignificant, yet over time, they unveil a powerful masterpiece. In this grand tapestry of change, the long arc of transformation is woven from threads of persistence, humility, and unwavering commitment to virtue. Picture the bamboo tree, revered in many Eastern traditions for its resilience and grace. For years, it sends its roots deep into the earth without showing a single sprout above ground. When it finally emerges, it can grow dozens of feet in just weeks, but without the hidden foundation of roots laid over the years, that spectacular rise would be impossible. So it is with Stoic growth. Beneath the surface of daily life, you are laying a subterranean network of mental and moral fibers through reflection, voluntary discomfort, purposeful action, and community that supports a sudden flowering of strength when crisis demands it. This hidden labor demands humility. There is no room for pride in the early stages of mastery. When you stumble over basic challenges, overreacting to critique, shying from cold water, or succumbing to distractions, each misstep is not a defeat, but a signpost. Here lies an opportunity for deeper work. Embrace these failures as guiding lights, not indictments of your worth. The Stoic sage does not expect to leap from novice to expert overnight. Rather, they cherish the incremental gains the moment they pause instead of lash out, the day they endure hunger without complaint, the week they journal faithfully instead of giving up. These micro-wins, though modest in isolation, accumulate into an unstoppable momentum. Persistence is the lifeblood of this process. The philosopher-journalist Seneca warned that diligence staves off any difficulty, reminding us that regular, disciplined effort outpaces sporadic bursts of enthusiasm. When the initial fervor wanes, which it inevitably will, your routine must carry you forward. It is your commitment to the practice when no one is watching that forges character. Show up for your morning reflections even on days you feel numb. Endure the cold shower when you're tempted to skip it. Speak the difficult truth when silence feels safer. Over time, each act of persistence transforms your identity. You are no longer someone who dabbles in Stoicism. You are a Stoic through and through. Finally, adopt a mindset of continuous refinement. The Stoic path is not a destination, but an endless horizon. Even the wisest of men, Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, remain students of life's lessons until their final breaths. Commit yourself to lifelong learning. Read new perspectives, seek feedback, and revisit old practices with fresh curiosity. Celebrate your victories, but never rest on them. The arc of transformation bends not toward complacency, but toward relentless growth. In the fullness of time, you will look back and barely recognize the person you once were, someone ruled by fear, attachment, and impulse. In their place stands an individual anchored by purpose, unshaken by adversity, guided by reason, and devoted to virtue. This evolution may feel unremarkable day-to-day, roots burrowing deeper, fibers intertwining more tightly, but when the winds of fate howl the fiercest, your inner forest will stand firm, bending but never breaking. Embrace the long arc of transformation with the conviction that your greatest work unfolds in the unseen, the uncelebrated, the unglamorous moments of steadfast practice. Trust that every choice to grow, however small, is a stroke of the chisel upon your soul. And know this, over the years, these countless strokes will reveal not just a stronger you, but a timeless testament to the Stoic ideal that pain refined by purpose becomes the purest power. Pain will come, loss, failure, illness, betrayal. These are not exceptions, but fixtures of existence. Yet within each trial lies the seed of empowerment. Stoicism does not promise an untroubled life. It offers something far more valuable: the freedom to choose your response, the strength to endure, the clarity to grow. Imagine your mind as a citadel with impenetrable walls. External events may batter its gates, but your inner fortress stands firm, reinforced by reason, virtue, and unwavering purpose. Each hardship becomes a brick in those walls. Each act of self-mastery another stride toward inner sovereignty. Now, take the first step. Acknowledge your pain without fear, reframe it with wisdom, act with discipline, and let your narrative transform from victimhood to victory. As you walk this Stoic path, you'll discover that power lies not in avoiding suffering, but in meeting it head-on and emerging stronger. Embrace the Stoic challenge. Transform pain into power. Your citadel awaits.